need to. Now, listen, we all know Tommy's in the wine business. Have
Right.
you also noticed that Michael Franzese is suddenly in the wine business? You know, they're both in LA together. And let me say this.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah, right? So it didn't take me long to figure that out. By the way, you know, Michael Franzese was Rosario Celli when he was in TI.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And, you know, Pete Milano was still there. And there, you know, Michael's got a story he talks about where a black kid punched him in the back of the head, but the black kid thought he was someone else, supposedly.
Ooh.
You know, Milano went crazy. He's like, we can't let them do this to us here. And, you know, Michael, being a very calm guy, said, no, look, Pete, it was an accident, case of mistaken identity, leave it alone. But listen, I am sure Michael Franzese is in the wine business because Tommy told him to get in the wine business. Now, when we talk about organized crime, yeah, we can say they're legit. That's what they would say. But let me
Sure.
say something else. I guarantee you those wine businesses aren't making any money. What they are doing is they're using their star power and their mafia connections to raise money for
Yeah.
what are legitimate fronts, but they're
Yeah.
never going to make any money with that. And
It's
who's
like a
going to
it's like a
complain?
loss leader. It's like a loss leader. Or they
Yeah.
use their connections to make money, meaning all of a sudden they're in every wine table in Sicily or they're, you know what I mean? So it's either they lose money on it to make money other ways. They
How's that
sell.
happen though? I know Tommy said he wants them to people to say, I want to order a Gambino, like make it a name thing. But has that really happened? I mean, have you ever tried Gambino wine? I haven't.
Not just that. I'm a little bit of a wine guy. I never had it, but I understand that like just kind of doing a prosecco, which is like a niche of a niche. Like you need like six like SKUs to even get in the game. You need a Cabernet. You need a rosé maybe nowadays. You need a you know what I mean. I don't know a Cabernet Sauvignon, and they just have a prosecco. So yeah, I kind of find that oddly interesting, and I'm happy that. I'm
Well,
happy that
listen, so
yeah.
so Tom, you look, Rosario coached his kids very young. Like I remember we were going out to see Benny Binion, the grandson of the
Oh
gangster,
yeah, yeah,
right? So me and Tony are on our way. And, you know, Tony wasn't sophisticated like Tommy was. He
yeah.
always had some hustle. And he goes, you know what I'm gonna do, Derek? I'm gonna pitch him my coffee company. I'm like, oh really, Tony? What's your coffee company's name? He goes, G Coffee. Then we get a little further down the road, and he goes, it's actually named Cafe Imports. So Tony's inventing this coffee company because he knows that like if he gets a contract for
Yeah,
Binion's
whatever. Yeah,
Hotel,
yeah.
you know. And by the way, so that's and they, by the way, they say they're legitimate.
Correct.
Okay, I get it, you know, but it's really like my father. It's underground financier type, yeah, type crimes.
Now, what about the Gambinos themselves when they were here in New Jersey? They were obviously very wealthy men, very wealthy immigrants, but they didn't necessarily flaunt their wealth. They lived in a neighborhood that was kind of like annexed off a little bit with nice houses, nothing crazy. They had Valentino's nightclub, they had supper club, 18th Avenue. I think it was Cafe Giardino, but like they weren't really flexing too much. How do they live in LA as far as you saw?
No, very, very undercover. I'll tell you this, and this has something to do with the Sicilian clannish thing. Look, the whole family lived in one house,
Yeah,
one apartment, I should say, on Wilshire Boulevard. And you
yeah,
know, I would have never seen that. You know, Tommy wouldn't have brought me up there, just like Jason wouldn't have brought someone around where we lived. Showing weakness about what was going on. Look, they were on Wilshire, which is a very expensive area. The apartment was big enough to house all of them, and that was two daughters at the time, a mother and two sons. So were they living high on the hog? No, but they were in the best area codes. They were wearing the best clothing and whatnot. So yeah, and they were hustling. They were learning how to make money. And one of the guys he learned from was my father. I mean, one of the things I outline in the book